SASN is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network, providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV. The Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN, is the DMV's only high school sports network providing a platform for the top scholar athletes in the DMV area. SASN.TV, the only high school sports network that features the top athletes in the DMV.
And live from the legendary DeMatha High School in the heart of Hyattsville, Maryland, you are watching Game Time Live, broadcasting the best live high school games in the DMV. Today's exclusive coverage of the Capital Hoops Summer League is presented by SASN, that's Scholar Athlete Sports Network. Today's marquee matchup features Gonzaga versus the Hawks of Hayfield. Hayfield coming in at 2-1 under head coach Carlos Poindexter. Of course, during the regular season, Hayfield a perfect 32-0 and finishing off as the VHSL Division 6A state champions in a 67-47 win in the final game over Battlefield. Gonzaga coming in at 1-1. Head coach Steve Turner. 18-12 regular season, finishing with a 51-47 loss to Wilson in the DCS AA semifinals. Wilson, the eventual champions of the DC tournament. Hayfield comes in strong, as I mentioned, at 2-1 with 65-61 win over Flint Hill and a 78-49 win versus Severn, and an 80-69 loss versus the host DeMatha. Gonzaga sporting 84-64 win over Fairfax Christian and a 71-64 loss versus St. Agnes. Of course, this game being live streamed on Facebook and YouTube under the Scholar Athlete Sports Network. My name is Noah Schubert, and I'll be the sole play-by-play, color commentary, whatever you want to call it, for tonight's game. Scheduled for an 8:45 kickoff, but a little bit of delay in the action in the game prior, so we'll probably see this one start at about 9:05 p.m. Of course, this is a private basketball league, so there are different rules that apply in the game that you'll watch. Both halves are 16 minutes, and the clock stops on everything. There will never be a running clock. Each team only gets 4 timeouts, which is 2 full 60-minute, 60-second timeouts, and 2 30-second timeouts. And if this game goes into overtime, they will get an additional 60-second timeout. There is no double bonus, so after the 7 foul mark, it'll be strictly 1-and-1s down the stretch. Any player who's ejected carries an automatic suspension for the next game. There's no closely guarded 5-second call, only 5-second call on holds. 30-second shot clock, which resets after every miss. No accelerated 20-second shot clock off of rebounds. And if this game does go in overtime, it'll be a 3-minute overtime until we decide a winner. Once again, DeMatha Catholic High School playing as hosts for this summer league, which spans from late May until mid-June. And one thing that you'll notice is that Hayfield can't actually play under their own name, have to play under their mascot, which is the Hawks, as they're sporting their white uniforms. Officially the quote-unquote home team for this game, Gonzaga in the all-purples. Going back to Hayfield, rules that public schools have different standards than private schools when it comes to these private summer leagues. And as the buzzer sounds for the end of pregame, we will be getting into action shortly as starters for Hayfield take the court. Gonzaga starters join them. On the court for Hayfield, number 32, David King, number 23, Greg Jones, number 11, Ryan Payne. Tip-off, Greg Jones versus Gonzaga's Thomas Battles, and violation called on the tip, so we'll get a retip. Ball up and into the hands of Gonzaga. It'll be Ryan Sable who gives it up to Derek Dixon. Sable drives inside, puts up the floater, bounce off the front of the rim, rebound back out to Gonzaga. In the corner stands Daniel Holmes, who turns it over, and it'll be recovered by Ryan Payne. Hawks now can set their possession. Inside, Greg Jones gives it up. Driving lay and rims out for DJ Holloway, and rebound goes to Gonzaga. top of the key, Holmes, who gives it up to Sable, and he knocks down a jumper for the first points of the game. Ryan Sable, the son of Mike Sable, who had a brief stint playing for Georgetown. His son averaging 15.5 points and 3 rebounds per game in Gonzaga's 2 games. Corner 3 off the mark for David King. Sable had it in the corner, but looks like he was out of bounds, so inbound will go to the Hawks. Sable providing pressure on DJ Holloway, the 6'1" guard, rising senior. Holloway. And a backdoor pass by Ryan Payne leads to points for Hayfield, scored by Andy Ramirez. But Gonzaga has an answer on the other end. Taking it strong inside was Greg Jones, but lost it. Jones, the statistical leader by far for this Hawks team, averaging 30 points and almost 7 rebounds in Hayfield's 3 games that they played so far. Jones sports offers from the likes of UMBC, Radford, and American, as a 3-pointer is knocked down by Derek Dixon for Gonzaga. Holloway was making the moves on his defender, but it'll be Gonzaga in transition. The basket will not count. Foul on the floor. Looks like the foul was called on Payne for Hayfield. Strong layup inside is good for Thomas Battles. 6'7" junior. Jones can't get her to go in transition. Rebound to Jack Caden. Caden back to the top to Dixon. Derek Dixon tried the step back, but had his pockets picked by Jones in transition. An easy lay-in for the 6'6" senior. Score stands 9-4 Gonzaga so far. 3-pointer is up and off the back of the rim. The rebound tip back out. Mid-range jumper in and out. The board is grabbed by Andy Ramirez. Ramirez up the court. Lay-in no good for David King. And on the other end goes Jack Caden, the 6'2" senior guard. Payne tried to put the moves on his defender and ended up running to a brick wall. As the foul is called on Holmes, and he'll be subbed out for Bryson Moore, 6'3" senior forward. Wasn't sure if Holmes was going to make an appearance tonight, but here he's on the court as a Euro step inside. Gives Greg Jones the basket. Layup can't be converted, and it'll be Hawks ball going the other end. And as a reminder for the folks at home, Hawks sporting their white uniforms going from right to left on your screen. Gonzaga in the all purples going left to right. Payne running the point. Pardon me, Jones. Holloway. No room, gets it in the corner to Jones, who's sized up immediately by Thomas Battles. Thought about it, pump fake, put the shot up. Too much on that one. So Gonzaga will be able to grab it and take it to the other end. Crossover. Drive inside by Moore, kicks it out. Three-pointer, Sable, Cash Money. He took that shot to the bank and cashed out a three and extends Gonzaga's lead to 14-6. And here he is on the other end, has his pocket picked from behind by Payne, who runs into Caden, and Caden will be issued a foul. Inbounds inside, pressured by Will Harper. Quick pass in the interior. King couldn't convert, and Gonzaga will grab it high past Sable, able to save it. Some quick maneuvers from Sable. It looked like that Dixon had an open lane, instead tried to kick it out to the corner for Bryson Moore, but the pass was not on target. So turnover for Gonzaga leads to New Hawks possession. Holloway recovers, drives inside, kicks it out. Three-pointer is up and good. Ryan Payne drains it and cuts Gonzaga's lead to 5. Along the baseline, three-pointer up and good. Derek Dixon with an answer on the other end. As Gonzaga and Hayfield trading shots. Under 10 minutes to go in the first half. Gonzaga leads this one 17-9. Pass inside. Lay-in is good for David King. King averaging 11.3 points and 6.3 rebounds for Hayfield. Another three-pointer from the corner. This one off the mark for Dixon. Jones trying to take it the other way. Couldn't quite handle it. He felt the heat from behind. Checking into the game for Hayfield, number 12, Noah Crouch, sends Ryan Payne to the bench to grab a breather and a drink of water. So it'll be Dixon running the point for Gonzaga, who gives it off to Sable. Wide open in the corner, three-pointer is up and off the mark for Will Harper. Greg Jones on the other end again. Harper with the quick defense, defending his basket. Jones has now twice been caught from behind. One of the most prolific scorer in this entire tournament, averaging 30 points per game along with 6.7 rebounds. Like I said, offers from UMBC, Radford, and American. Of course, UMBC being University of Maryland, Baltimore County, who in the 2018 NCAA tournament famously took down the #1 seeded UVA Cavaliers as a 16 seed. Inside, laying up and good for Andy Ramirez. It'll be Sable, who's guarded pretty closely by Holloway. Dixon, quick pass inside to Battles. Battles sizes up his defender, and the foul will be called on David King, and it'll send Battles to the line for 2. Battles in his one game scored 6 points, collected 6 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, and also 2 blocks. As his second free throw goes down, lead back up to 5. As Dede Holmes checks back in the game for Gonzaga. Battles, takes a seat on the bench. Three-pointer up off the back of the rim for Greg Jones, but underneath the basket is King, who puts up the rebound. And it's a 3-point game. Seven and a half to go in the first half. Three-pointer falls short and bounces. Errant rebound put up by Holmes. It'll eventually end up with Hayfield. After some commotion, Dixon ends up with it. Inside, strong to the hoop goes Will Harper. Harper, 6'4" sophomore. This tournament showcasing mostly players from the classes of 2023, 24, and 25, with some 26s sprinkled into the mix. It's a new face on the court for Gonzaga, number 24, Alex Toomu. Holmes out of position at the top of the key, has his pocket picked. Noah Crouch gives it into Jones. Jones smooth inside, can't get the shot to go, grabs his own rebound, and the putback bounces around and falls into the net. Greg Jones slowly getting into the swing of things. His Hawks still down by 3, 20-17 to Gonzaga. Tuomu from the corner, can't get it to fall. Hawks tried to grab the rebound, but it was off the hands of Payne. But he makes up for it and grabs the inbound himself, taking it strong. Foul called on the shot. And that'll bring Ryan Payne to the line for 2. Payne, 6'1" guard in the class of 2024. Three games, averaging 3.3 points and 1.7 rebounds, but 2.7 steals per game. He's heading to the scorer's table and checking in is Jack Cadens and Will Harper to the bench. Payne's second free throw off the mark, so still a 2-point game, 5:53 to go in the first half. Gonzaga leads this one 20-18. Sable gives it to Dixon, takes it inside, tried to get it to Holmes. Couldn't get a clean look, and the pass ricocheted out of bounds, where Jones will inbound it for the Hawks. Waiting for it on his end is number 12, Noah Crouch, who gives it right back to Jones to lead the point up the court. Jones, strong inside, puts up the shot. No good, rebound ends up with Dixon. Holmes grabbed it, gave it to Dixon. He faces some pressure. Floater inside, falls for Jack Caden. Caden contributing 7.5 points and 3.5 rebounds per game in his 2 games for Gonzaga. He's checking in for the Hawks. Number 3, Phoenix Card, their lone freshman. Sends Noah Crouch, 5'10" sophomore guard, to a seat on the bench to spectate. Ramirez kneels at the scorer's table. And whistle blows. It'll be Hawks basketball. Payne will inbound. Jones being double teamed. Both Caden and Sable. So Holloway runs back and grabs it, guarded by Alex Tuomu. Holloway crosses up his defender, but no room to work, and instead gives it up. It's Sable on the other end. Dish inside. Hit out of Caden's hands and recovered by Will Harper. Pardon me, Andy Ramirez. Ramirez dishes it. Payne tried to take it inside, but chose against it. Holloway, mid-range jumper, falls, and it's a 2-point game. As the clock nears 4 minutes to go in this first half. DeMatha, pardon me, Gonzaga still leading this one 22-20. Hawks not able to overcome that deficit just yet, as a putback lay-in is good for Tuomu and extends Gonzaga's lead to 4. Card was feeling some pressure, so give it to Holloway. Holloway trying to take it strong inside, face the wall of Tuomu. As Battles checks back in the game for the aforementioned 6'5" sophomore forward. Dixon, long range 3, too strong, and rebound fought for by 2 Hawks players. Ended up with Ryan Payne. Gave it up to Phoenix Card on the other end, and now Payne guarded closely by Caden. Holloway from the corner. Sable contested. Putback no good, but rebound recovered by Payne, who's all over the floor tonight. And it's Jones inside the finger roll. Couldn't get it in, but the blocking foul is called. I believe that was on Daniel Holmes. Don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe he's getting close to foul trouble. Looks like his 2nd foul. Jones strains the first free throw as Holmes will see the bench for Bryson Moore. Daniel Holmes not quite in his natural environment. Still averaging 12 points per game and 8 rebounds for Gonzaga, but on the gridiron, a 3-star defensive end with a multitude of offers from all across the country. Penn State, Michigan, USC, Ole Miss, Miami, and Maryland, to just name a few. 3-pointer, short, rebound, recovered, and one. Jack Caden has the opportunity to put up 3 points for Gonzaga as he reclaims their lead with that shot. Clock sits at 2:36 to go in the first half. Caden at the line. 75% free throw shooter, can't get that one, so a 4-point game still. 2:30 to go in the first half. Looked like that King tried to get that pass up to Holloway, was tipped away by, I believe, Battles. So it'll still be Hayfield ball, just a little harder than it was initially. Holloway inbound to Jones. Jones has Holmes guarding him, and so gives it up to Ryan Payne. Payne to Holloway. Holloway averaging 10.7 points per game. Jones, contested three-pointer. Too far. Got nothing but air on that shot, and tip out of bounds will go in favor of the boys in purple. Dixon will inbound it. As I mentioned, Dixon averaging 12.5 points and 4 rebounds per game. His offer stands from George Mason to play collegiate basketball as a three-pointer in the corner goes down for Jack Caden. Gonzaga is hot from 3. Turnaround jumper falls short. Caden grabs the air ball, takes it up, has the numbers. Dixon tried to get it inside to Sable, but heads up basketball from Greg Jones, who picked it out of the air. Ramirez inside, Holloway under the basket, lays it in, and it's a 5-point game with 1:27 to go in the first. Caden and Dixon play it back and forth. Holmes guarded by Jones. Gives it up, taking it inside, and losing it was Bryson Moore. And the Hawks have a fast break. Jones in transition lays it in, and Greg Jones is making short work of this game like we've seen him do on so many occasions. Jones in the win versus Severn dropped 31 points and added 6 rebounds as Dixon's shot from 3 is no good, and we'll go back to Jones. In the 80-69 loss versus DeMatha for the Hawks, Jones recorded a double-double with 33 points and 10 rebounds. As the shot falls for David King. A foul's called on the floor, so it'll be Hawks basketball on the baseline. Neither team in foul trouble with 39 seconds to go in the first half, but King will take it inside, blocked by Bryson Moore, but foul called on the shot, so that'll send King to the line for 2. He'll get his just desserts. Again, his team down by 3, 29-26. Gonzaga now with 6 fouls. A 7th foul will send any Hawk to the line for 1-1. If Gonzaga commits a foul in any of the next 36 or so seconds. King's first shot rimmed out. Second one does the same, and the rebound goes to Moore. Moore gives it up to Sable. Again, neither team really using the shot clock very much as Holloway takes it from Sable and puts in the layup on the other end, and it's a 1-point game. Clock running down from 18, now down to about 13 seconds. Dixon working on Holloway at midcourt. Has it hit away. And Battles will grab it from the bleachers. Battles standing at 6'7". Holmes will inbound it. Dixon at midcourt with 4. Dixon spins, puts up the jumper, no good. Sable couldn't get the rebound, and that'll do it for 16 minutes of basketball. Gonzaga leads a tight one, 29-28 at the half. We'll be back in just a little bit for second half action. You're watching the Capital Hoops Summer League on SASN.TV. just about 3 minutes between halves. As the halftime statistics have been delivered up in the booth. Jack Caden leading Gonzaga with 9 points, shooting 4 of 5 from the field and 1 of 1 on his only 3-point shot. And Greg Jones leading all scorers with 10 points, 4 of 11 from the field, with 5 rebounds. Brian Payne with an impressive 4 steals in the first half for the Hawks, who again are down by 1 as the clock ticks away at halftime, and we will be back for second half action between Gonzaga and Hayfield. Gonzaga 29, the Hawks of Hayfield 28. Hayfield looking to improve to 3-1. Currently sit at 7th place. Gonzaga looking to improve to 2-1 at 13th place right now. Top 16 out of the 32 teams entered into this tournament will make the playoffs, and Hayfield starting off quick. It's Holloway. Greg Jones gives it up to Payne. Holloway working on Sable. Holloway makes a move, pulls up, jumper, rims out, but a foul called on the shot, and that'll send Holloway to the line for 2. So DJ Holloway with a chance to give Hayfield its first lead of this game. Was down from the jump, down by as much as 7, and the game is now tied on Holloway's first made free throw. And Holloway goes 2 for 2 and gives Hayfield the lead. Holloway now with 8 points, 2 for 2 from the line, 3 of 4 from the field. Gonzaga looking for an answer. Sable's jumper is good. And Gonzaga retakes the lead, and ladies and gentlemen, we now have ourselves a game. Jones gives it up. Jumper no good for Holloway. Rebound ends up with the Hawks, but shot was blocked by Battles, and now up the court comes Gonzaga. Moore to Caden, and Dixon will slow it down. Shot clock down to 14. Tip out of bounds is called in favor of the Hawks. Again, 30-second shot clock regardless, but has not really been an issue, has not forced any shots up. Both teams being very quick with their pace of their respective offenses. As Holloway will feel pressure from Sable going up the court. Gonzaga running a man defense as Jones is backed up by Holmes. King with the screen. Jones thought about pulling up, but instead kicked it out, and Payne with the mid-range jumper off the glass. No good. Rebound put up and in by David King. King standing only at 6'2", but playing like a big man out there, battling in the trenches, gives Hayfield their 1-point lead back. As Holmes drains the jumper and contributes his first points of the night. Does have 4 rebounds to his name, and now Gonzaga on the other end. Dixon, floater over Jones, falls smoothly through the net. And the pass up the court, too hard. Gonzaga lead back up to 3, 35-32. Corner three for Sable, bounces in and out, but the tip-in is good for Dixon. Derek Dixon increases his point total to 8, and Gonzaga's lead to 5, 37-32 with 13:28 to go in the game. DJ Holloway will be in charge of the inbound underneath the basket. And I believe a 5-second was called, or no, a foul on Ryan Payne. No one really in foul trouble. Holmes with 2 and David King also with 2. But 1s and 0s down the board for both sides. Sable to Battles. Inside to Moore. Dixon finds some space. Jumper, no good. Rebound eventually recovered by Ryan Payne. He'll take it up the court with Caden in strong pursuit. Greg Jones, double guarded. Forced to try to give it up to Ramirez. Pass was over the 6'3" rising senior's head, and we will have our first time out of the game called by Gonzaga, and we'll be right back after a quick break. Gonzaga leads this one 37-32 right here on SASN.TV. Out of the timeout, Caden will inbound it to Sable. Inside, Holmes has it knocked out of his hands. Rebound went to Payne, who was in a jam for a second and had to give it up to Ramirez, who was fouled by Sable. Jones on the near side, inbounding it for the Hawks. It'll be Holloway with Jack Caden on the defense. Holloway motions to set up the play, gives it up to Ramirez from King, and right there to steal it out of the air is Dixon up the court. Numbers for Gonzaga, and Thomas Battles with the 2, couldn't quite rise up for the flush. Greg Jones responds on the other end with 2 of his own. Jones with his first basket of the second half. Now has 12. Holmes inside to Battles. Battles feeling the heat and has it stolen from him by Holloway. DJ Holloway in the corner, open for 3 and falling short. Was, I believe, Phoenix Card. Gonzaga strong on the other end. Dixon flies in, and Gonzaga running away with it, up by 7. But the jumper is good for 3. In and out. And it'll be Holloway on the inbounds. After the three-pointer, Holloway with 11 points. One behind his teammate Greg Jones for most on the floor. Lead is 5. Jones inside to King. King had an array of hands blocking his movements. Checking in will be Will Harper as Ryan Sable will head to the bench for Gonzaga. So Dixon will take over the point guard responsibilities. Inside to Holmes, quick dish. Caden was stopped by the rim on that one, but that was fantastic read by Holmes, but couldn't quite convert, and Jones on the other end can't either, and Caden will grab the board. Caden taking it himself coast to coast, lay-in. Easy money for Jack Caden, who creeps above 10 points himself. Dixon for 3, grabs his own rebound, and now the floater on the end doesn't go in either, and King secures the board for the Hawks. Down again by 7, so needing to get some points as King will contribute 2 there. Rebound grabbed by Harper, but couldn't convert. As Greg Jones looks up at the clock, which reads 9:44. Gonzaga up 43-38. Hawks need some stops and some points. Jones puts up the 3, bounces out, and Holmes with the board. Looks like King fell down and ran into Holmes, so is called for the foul. I believe that's King's 3rd. So he creeps into trouble as we see the first sighting of Lucas Scribner, who sends Jack Caden to the bench. Scribner, a 5'11" guard who's a rising sophomore. Also, some subs coming in for the Hawks. As we see Jay Lemon take the floor along with Noah Crouch and Phoenix Card. Dixon to Battles, inside to Holmes. Holmes spins, and a 1-2-3 bounces into the hoop. Pardon me, is Bryson Moore on the lay-in. Moore contributes his first points, and here's Moore on the break. Moore, coast to coast, back-to-back buckets for Bryson Moore. Gonzaga's lead increases by 4, and it's a 9-point game just like that. Jones feeling the pressure from Battles. Puts up the jumper, which falls. Jones up to 14. Scribner to Dixon, who's forced back by Jones. Scribner was open for a second, couldn't quite corral the pass, and so Gonzaga has to reset with 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Gonzaga running out of time. 4. Shot has to go up. Dixon puts up the 3 and cashes it in. Derek Dixon taking control of the game himself now. 13 points, including 7 in this second half, and he has the rebound there and has the numbers. Dixon takes it himself off the glass and count it. Gonzaga now up by 12. Timeout is called by the Hawks, and boy, oh boy, this has turned into much less of a game than we had earlier. With 7:39 in the second, Gonzaga leads this one 52-40 over the Hawks of Hayfield, as head coach Carlos Poindexter will talk things over with his players. Steve Turner will do the same, but probably a little more positive reinforcement. Greg Jones leading all scorers with 14 points for the Hawks of Hayfield. Gonzaga's Derek Dixon has 15, so more than Greg Jones. DJ Holloway with 11 for the Hawks. And Jones tried to get the pass up to Holloway, thought he would make a break for it, and it was stolen right out of the air by Harper, who was fouled on the shot attempt, and he'll head to the line for 2. Will Harper with 2 points in the first half. 1 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. We'll look to add 2 more and extend Gonzaga's lead to 14 as 1 falls. And 2 for 2 from the line goes Will Harper. He's got 4, and Gonzaga has a 14-point lead on Hayfield. Getting tripped up because far scoreboard reads DeMatha and Guest, so hometown hosts not doing me any favors here in the booth as Harper's mid-ranger bounces out. Holloway with the rebound, gets it up to Jones, who faces battles right early on. Jones inside, makes some moves underneath the basket and lays it in. So 16 points now for the rising senior. Battles, has it blocked by Jones, stuffed him at the rim. On the other end, Holloway. Jones was open for a second, decides to drive it in instead. Lay-in goes, but a double dribble called on Jones, so it'll be Gonzaga ball. As Holmes and Sable will check in for Gonzaga. Inbound to Dixon. Looks to the bench for the play call. 6.5 to go in the game. Still 12-point Gonzaga lead. Can Harper make it 15? Yes, he can. Don't let Will Harper heat up. He's got 5 in the second half. And Gonzaga running away with this one, now up 15. King. Holmes. Believe he got a piece of that one. Sable up to Holmes, who one-hands it out of the air. Dixon has a lay-in inside. Lay-in doesn't go. He hits the floor in frustration. Rebound went to Parker Cage for Hayfield. Now Greg Jones in the corner, and that one is good. Undeniable, Greg Jones, who now has 19 to his name. Sable on the other end. King with the strong rebound, hits the floor, and the foul will be called on Holmes. And a timeout will be called by Gonzaga, up 12. Steve Turner probably wanted to talk some sense into his players. As with 5:37 to go in the second, a 12-point lead seems safer. Rundown of your leading scorers for Gonzaga. Derek Dixon has contributed 14 points. Will Harper with 7, Ryan Sable with 9. Thomas Batties with 7 as well. Jack Caden with 11. So spreading the love is Gonzaga. And for the Hayfield Hawks. It's a Greg Jones show. It was 19. DJ Holloway following with 10. Holloway running the point. Jones tried the step back on Baddies, but didn't budge, so Holloway taking it inside, and it ends up with Gonzaga. Early whistle blows. It's like a foul was called on the near side. A little bit of confusion at the scorers table. Not quite sure what's going on, but Ramirez stands ready for the inbound whenever the referees are content. Referees talking it over. Again, not quite sure what the debate is, but 5:09 to go in the second half, and we wait as our officials in the zebra shirts deliberate, and I believe they've finally come to a conclusion, and Holloway on the near side will inbound it for the Hawks. Again, don't know for sure what the issue was. But it'll be Ryan Payne. Hawks down 12 with 5 minutes to make up some ground. Holloway to Jones. Contested three-pointer is good. Greg Jones eclipses 20. Now has 22 on the game, which is just a walk in the park for the rising senior. Tipped away, Holloway. In transition, slams it home. My goodness, the 6'1" guard shows off the bunnies. The rim got rocked by the one-hander. As Ramirez tips it away on the other end, it'll remain Gonzaga ball. Inside goes Sable. Shot falls short. Contested rebound ends up with Holloway. 2-on-1. Now Greg Jones' turn to lay down the hammer. 2 points are added with an exclamation point, and it's a 5-point game. Sable tries to answer for three, can't. Rebound to King, and Holloway on the other end. DJ Holloway makes a move, can't get it to fall. Gonzaga still with a 5-point lead without one of their better players in Nick Lewis, who in his one game dropped 25 and 12. Lewis, who holds offers from George Mason and Bryant. Bryant headlined by one of the more electric transfers of the offseason, Doug Eddert from St. Peter's, who had their Cinderella run to the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. As Dixon called for the foul. Of course, St. Peter's head coached by Shaheen Holloway, who accepted a job at Seton Hall. So for all you Georgetown Hoya faithful out there, you'll be seeing him in Big East action for this season and probably many to come. As the first free throw goes down for Ryan Payne. His first point of the second half, had 4 at the break. And speaking of 4, it's now just a 4-point game. And it'll stay that way as Payne goes 1 for 2 from the line. So a 12-point deficit for the Hawks has been chiseled down to just 4. And that makes it a lot easier as a steal by Ramirez. No basket. And Ramirez called for the travel. So with 3:04 to go in the second, Gonzaga leads this one 57-53. It's become a much more exciting ball game than it was just about 4 minutes ago. Jones called for the hold on Baddies. 6 fouls for Gonzaga, 4 fouls for the Hawks. So Gonzaga having to watch the way it plays. Great inbounds defense. Finally a prayer thrown up for Dixon. And Ramirez called for the foul on Sable. Moore jogs over to the near sideline for the inbounds. Long pass taken over the shoulder by Sable, gives it up to Baddies and has it taken from him by Ramirez, up to Jones, tip drill. And it ends up Hawks ball on the baseline. Jones and Moore contesting for it, and through a comedy of tips, Jones had it, but then had it hit away. But he'll get the inbounds, and Baddies will be right there, and there's Moore to make up for it on the defensive end. Sable, guarded by Holloway, to Baddies. King on the mismatch. Baddies with 5 inches on the defender, but forced to give it up to Sable. Kicks it out, 3-pointer way off the mark from Caden. King on the other end. As Holloway picked up the change and was fouled on the shot by Baddies. So Holloway goes to the line for 2. So 2:06 remaining in this game. Gonzaga's lead still stands at 4, 57-53. Holloway looking to narrow that down to at least 3 and maybe 2.
So we're gonna do post game downstairs on the court. So as soon as you sign off, you can just grab this and go around.
Holloway 2 for 2 from the line, and it's now a 2-point game. 14 points for Holloway as Sable stops at the free throw line and puts up the jumper, and Ramirez with the rebound, and now here come the Hawks. 3-pointer up, no good. Rebound goes to Gonzaga. Moore had it tipped away initially, but Dixon was there for the recovery. Now Baddies on the other end, guarded by Jones. King went in for the steal, and it looked like that he was held by Baddies as he tried to recover the ball, but nevertheless off of the Hawks, and 18 seconds to shoot for Gonzaga. 1:30 on the clock. Moore draws the block on Ramirez. 6 fouls now for the Hawks. Gonzaga recorded its 7th team foul when Holloway was fouled on the shot. So any additional foul by Gonzaga will result in a 1-and-1 for the Hawks. Hayfield not quite there yet with only 6 team fouls in this half. Dixon doing it all himself and has it stripped away in transition, and laying it in, tying this game up, is Ryan Payne. What a run by Hayfield, down 12, fighting back, and with just over a minute to go, tied at 57. Sable inside, block, and one. Ryan Sable strong to the hoop. Has been quiet for most of this half, but now with 11 and chance to extend Gonzaga's lead to 3 with 53.1 seconds to go. But the free throw does not fall. So now the Hawks down by only 2. Jones doing it himself, laying, rebounded and put back up by King. It's tied again. A timeout is called. David King now with 10 points, ties it up at 59 apiece with 42.3 to go. Both teams hit the 7 foul mark. So again, any fouls from either side from this point on will result in a 1-and-1. You know, usually basketball a game of momentum, and Gonzaga had all of it up by 12, and then here come the Hawks, who go on quite the run to have it tied up as we stand now with under 45 seconds to play. And this will be nothing but a thriller down the stretch, it seems. Caden will inbound it. Sable, Dixon, Moore, and Batty's on the floor for Gonzaga. Payne providing the defense. King, Jones, Holloway, and Ramirez round up the lineup. Mid-range jumper, good. Timeout called by Gonzaga. Ryan Sable, as 12 seconds ran off the clock on that one, and Gonzaga now up by 2, but calling a timeout. Not quite sure why. Maybe trying to set up their full court defense to stop the Hawks of Hayfield from scoring. Of course, led by Greg Jones and his 24 points, but don't discount DJ Holloway, who has 14 of his own. Ryan Sable on the other end with 13 for Gonzaga. Derek Dixon with 14, but has been quiet towards the end of the game. So Holloway will inbound it to Jones with 30.2 on the clock. Jones letting it roll. Batty's testing him. Jones finally picks it up. Has time, doesn't need to rush. Foul called. Thought Jones fell down under his own accord, but he'll head to the line for a 1-and-1 as not quite sure who the foul was on. Might have been Caden. So Greg Jones has an opportunity to tie this one up for the Hawks. Gonzaga with the size advantage on the line. Jones stays perfect from the line, 3 for 3 so far. And 4 for 4 ties this up at 61 with 24.7 to go. 26 points for Jones. And it'll be Sable. Sable guarded by Payne. Has it stolen. Holloway on the other end. King with help. Kicks it out. Jones for 3. Short. Rebound to Holloway. 3 seconds. Holloway shot. Short. Put back is good. Put back is good. Andy Ramirez, the hero of the game for the Hawks, puts it in as time expires. And an unprecedented 12-point comeback for the Hayfield Hawks culminates in Andy Ramirez with a game-winning putback layup. Unbelievable. Ramirez, his only basket of the half coming there, and that'll do it. Hayfield 63, Gonzaga 61 will be on the floor for post-game with our players of the game, so we'll be right back on SASN.TV.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming now. Good. Yeah.
Hey, Coach, can I grab Greg Jones and Andy Ramirez real quick?
Andy.
So SASN.TV postgame with Andy Ramirez, and Andy, 4 points in the first half, 2 in the second, but the
1 second. Let me get it on camera.
I don't speak English very much.
post-game here with Andy Ramirez, the game-winning tip-in for Hayfield. Andy, the team was down 12 in the second half, came all the way back, and it was you with the game-winning layup. What was going through your mind when you saw the rebound come to you?
When I saw the ball in the air, I think I gotta take it and shoot it, you know. So I got the ball and I shoot, and it go in.
Really all about instincts. Your teammate Greg Jones with 26 points in this game. How does he provide an inspiration for this team and lead this team in this game?
So he inspired the team. He's play hard, and he talked with us and say, play defense, play hard. We gotta go in this game, and it means a lot for us.
And finally, of course, you were down 12 in the second half. In a timeout, what is your coach saying to you in a situation like that to get you guys back motivated?
He say, don't give up. We got this game. So play hard, play with the heart, and play defense. Stop buckets, and when you got the ball, go hard. We got this game.
Andy Ramirez from the Hayfield Hawks. Final score 63-61. Ramirez with the game-winning basket. This has been SASN.TV with live coverage of the Capital Hoops Summer League. And now here with Greg Jones, 26 points in the game, but it was Andy Ramirez with the theatrics at the end. What was going through your mind as you saw that layup going in?
Well, I didn't even know he was right there. I didn't even know he was under the basket until I looked and saw. I was like, oh, Andy's right there. We got a tip-in option, because I thought that was just gonna be the shot and the game was gonna end. But made it and went crazy and beat a great team like Gonzaga. Really good team, well-coached team.
And Greg, you've been on a tear this tournament, averaging 30 a game coming in, 26 as I mentioned tonight. How do you take advantage of that and take control of the game in your own hands?
Well, I think it's about taking the right shots, and my role has gotten bigger because we lost a lot of players, so I feel like I got to step up a lot. But it's also about taking the right shots, and I'm just starting to get a little bit better at that, knowing when to shoot, when to not to shoot, when to pass. So I feel like it's just about that.
And down 12 in the second half, it kind of seemed like Gonzaga was running away for it. What was your coach telling you in the timeout when you were down 12 and how to keep going the rest of the game?
We just got to get 2 stops. That's what our coach was telling us. We just got to get 2 stops and then build off of that. That was really what they were saying to us. So.
And finally, great chemistry, it seemed like, between you and DJ on the other end, but the team as a whole, what can you say about that, about how it led to this win?
Yeah, obviously we got a lot of new guys on our team, and they're just learning. So I feel like just picking them up when they make a mistake or they're not having the best game, I feel like that's the key thing when we're playing in these summer league games. So that's what I would say.
All right, Greg, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you.
Say your name and you're watching SASN.TV.
I'm sorry?
Say your name and you're watching SASN.TV. It's on the shirt.
I'm Greg Jones, and I'm watching SASN TV.
Thanks, Greg. Great.